Okay, in my last video, I was complaining about tires, and upon further investigation, I have an old set of tires that come off of this car that I'd saved in storage, and I was like, okay, why did I save those? I saved them because only 2 of the tires were worn down. The other 2 were okay, but I'm the kind of guy that just always buys 4 tires, okay? So, but I'm looking at it and I realize the only tire that's really wearing is this back rear back here. So obviously there's an alignment issue. It's eating up the inside of that tire. And I'm not sure how the inside of this one is. It looks okay. So I went and looked at the other tires and they were worn the exact same way. The good thing is though, I have a good, because like this other passenger side wheel seems to be okay, right? Let me show you. Yeah, so this is one of the wheels I guess I had saved. So this is exactly what's going on, right? It's eating up the inside of that wheel. That's the rear staggered wheel, right? And then this is probably on the same side. This is a front wheel. So it's eating up. So I got to go get an alignment and toe and all that done, because this is what's happening. And it might have to do with those bad struts as well. So over here in the junk pile, so these are the other side, right? So this is probably the passenger side, and it's good. There's a little wear here, but this is a great tire. These tires are very expensive, and they don't make them anymore. They're Eagle NCT run flats, right? So I'm gonna go ahead and put this tire back on that other side and then I can probably get another year or so. Like there's quite a bit of meat on there, right? I'm gonna get that other thing fixed, and then I've got an extra front as well. So this is like my junk storage back here, and I have an entire set of these wheels, right? And these are nice. There's people out there that probably say, oh, the black wheels look good. I had the black wheels on the car, and I just didn't feel like they fit. They fit. They just didn't kind of go with the motif of the silver. On the other car that I had, they worked well because the car was black and silver. This one is just silver. Look at this knucklehead. Fuck, ugh. Whoever did that, I want to just, come on. Anyway. So, I don't think I'm going to put these on. Now, these are the Continental Conti Sport, whatever you call them. And these are good tires. There's a lot of meat on them. So I'm just saving these. I figure, I don't drive the car that much. I don't drive it in the rain. We're not going out of town. It's only used locally for running around. But this right here, not counting the wheels, of course, just the tires. If I had to go buy these, this is over $2,000 for these tires. They're about $500-600 a piece. These wheels from Rolls-Royce would probably be about $4 or $5 grand a piece, which do not include the center caps, which are separate pieces. The center cap is separate from this bezel, because you have to get the color bezel for your wheel. This little thing, you're talking about, you could spend $800 for this, right? So it's quite expensive. So if you had a new Rolls-Royce, or you were buying OEM wheels, you're going to spend $25,000 on the wheels, the tires, and the hubcaps, maybe more. That's the cost of these. So when you see them for sale used, that's why you'll see these dudes, they go put these wrapper wheels on, and then they take the OEM wheels off, and they don't realize how dumb they are when they do that. They're going to destroy their suspension. They're going to destroy all their struts. They're going to destroy all the steering linkages, because the car is made specifically for these wheels and this size of tire and rotation, the offset, all of those things. And when you change that, you will destroy your suspension. You are not smart when you do that. Just saying, unless it's the exact same spec. If it's a different design, but the same spec, then you're okay. So, anyway, who knows what I'll do with these. I'm just saving them because you can't just get Rolls-Royce wheels any day of the week. Got these in the mail. There you go. So, yeah, I suppose you can buy these this section here. These are a few $100. Now, I got these, I guess, from China. They're you know, knockoffs, I guess. As long as they're done correctly, there's not much to them. I mean, you got this, is it vulcanized is the word, where they put this rubber in there with suspending this inside of this capsule. And you also have, you have this piece here. So the thing about it is that, yeah, I mean, I don't have a press and things handy to get this out. So you can buy these for a lot cheaper. If you buy these from Rolls-Royce, they're crazy expensive. If you're from Scuderia Parts that sells OEM parts, I want to say they were like $600-700 a piece. Buying them on eBay from China, I got them for $300 or whatever. They were pretty cheap. And the thing is time has become more valuable than parts sometimes. So, and I don't have a press here. So getting this, you know, removing this, getting this out, and then pressing it in, it's just a pain in the ass. And that's probably the better way to go. You know, I just decided to buy the whole thing because I can just change this out a little easier. Okay, this is just a cover. Goes on here. Of course, this thing's pretty heavy, okay? It's pretty heavy. We'll take it down there and we'll have a look at the old one. Okay, well, there's my old one. You could see that the mount is right up against the metal. It's been digging into it. So, yeah, this thing is pretty heavy and gangly, but, oh, good Lord. Ugh. Anyway, that's where that goes. It's pretty heavy, and I think I just gave myself a little tiny metal splinter. I felt it go in. You know, these are probably sand casted. All right, this thing is heavy. It weighs, I don't know, 10 pounds or something. It's, ow. Anyway, you can kind of see what's going on here, where that has failed. And this is definitely, it's strange because this isn't causing any wear on the front tires, a tiny bit of wear on the inside. I'm having tremendous wear on the back tires. Now the car's lowered. You could see how much it, you know, I'm having problem with that left driver's side rear air shock losing power. I need to go, if I turn the key on, it'll air itself up. But, which I should have done. Here, let me go do that. Thing about these air suspensions, you can see how low it sits. After about a week of sitting around, the car goes into standby, and usually just turning the key on will fire up the air compressor. It's so quiet you can't really hear it. Let me check here. Hold on. Let's see. Yeah, there it goes. It starts raising itself up real slowly. The pump is so quiet. It's inside here. I feel a slight vibration, but it's really, really quiet. So there it goes. It raises itself up. Usually only takes a few seconds. Obviously, when you start the car, it has more power, you know, from the 2 alternators running. And I just put 2 new batteries in. Now, you also have what's called the lift function. Whenever you're pulling into a place, you would activate. I went ahead and started it. Press the lift button. The lift button gives you an extra couple of inches. I'm sure your wife would appreciate that. And so what that's for is when you're going into a situation, you usually have to have the door closed. When you're pulling into a place, it just gives you an extra little bit of lift. It usually takes a few seconds. There it goes. And that'll give you maximum height. There it is, it's raising up. It's just waking up, you know, it has to fill the compressor up. Once you've been driving it around, it happens much quicker. So, but when you let the thing sit around for like a week, now it should stay up, but obviously I've got a leak somewhere back here in one of these rear shocks. I think it's this one because this one always drops the lowest. And I don't want to get a bunch of fumes in here. So now the car is sitting up nice and proud. I got to figure out why it is that this particular tire, I'll put this light here. If you can see, hold on, I'm trying to zoom. Zoom for me, there we go. My zoom is not working. There it is. Okay, that's what I was looking for. Yeah, that tire's screwed, right? So the inside of that rear tire is getting just chewed up. And let me see if I can see this side over here. You know, for some reason, I'm eating up the inside. Now, I don't think that that's happening because of this front situation. I don't know. Either that particular tire is facing outward or it's tilting. I don't know what's causing that, but I know I need new tires. And so you cannot buy these Goodyear run flats any longer. They're not available. So that's a bit of a problem for me. That sucks. And I do have a little bit of an oil leak because we had cleaned up, we had cleaned all this up down here. My boy, my buddy Hip, he come down here and he cleaned this up. He takes care of me. So I'm leaking back here. This is all wet. So I guess I'm leaking transmission fluid, because this is definitely wet. This is a little wet also, because I've cleaned all this. I'm catching some oil coming from up here. Not sure exactly where, but it's, you know, you got a what, an 18-year-old car with 75,000 miles, and it's a BMW. BMWs leak. That's what they do. And, you know, if all I do is leak a little bit of oil once in a while, I mean, you know, that's just, it's kind of par for the course. I'm a guy who owns Harley Davidson, so, you know, like, I'm used to this. But I'm ready to do a pan drop on this anyway. The issue with doing a pan drop, though, you just change this whole filter out, basically. You just drop this whole thing, and this whole thing is plastic, and you throw it away. You put another one in, and then there's like a sleeve you clean, and then you have to fill back in through that little screw hole up there, if you can see it. And you got to have a pump. And I was talking to Car Wizard about it, and it's kind of a pain in the ass. It says, warning, lifetime oil. Use only BMW oil. Oil filling, whatever. If it's lifetime oil, why would there even be a sticker there to tell you that? It's not. Lifetime means until the warranty is over. So at 75,000 miles, it's still safe to do a pan drop. And by pan drop, what I mean is you're not doing a full flush. You're just dropping this, and whatever falls out, and then you refill it as best you can. So there's this drain. So I haven't decided whether or not I'm going to do this myself. I'm talking to the folks over at the Werkstatt, BMW only, and I might just have them do it because they're professionals. They have all the tools. There's some other cleaning that has to happen in there. So I may just have them, and I may just have them do this as well. Even though I could easily do this myself, it's not that hard. You got a bolt there, and you got bolt right there. You have to pull this pan off. It's not that hard. It really isn't. Maybe I'll just do that myself. I don't know. I just, I'm going to have them do an alignment for it anyway. So I thought, you know, maybe I'll just, let's be honest. I'm getting kind of tired of doing this stuff. I read all the comments. I do like reading the comments. So I read all the stuff that people say, and they're like, oh, Bob, first of all, the comment that I get all the time is, I can't believe that you work wearing a Rolex watch. And I've been wearing, this one's a new one. I finally traded in my other one. I wore basically a two-tone Submariner for 15 years straight. And I decided I didn't want the gold anymore. And then I got a Sea Dweller, which is a much bigger watch. Wore it for 3 years. I just felt it was too big and floppy. And so this is just a regular old Submariner, brand new. It's brand new. Just got it from a dealer. And the only reason I bought it is I got it from an authorized dealer. I only buy it if I could pay retail. I'm not going to pay over sticker for the watch. So I got the watch for $10,000 retail from a dealer, which is hard to do, by the way. But people comment about it all the time, and I go, the Rolex Submariner is the most robust watch you could get. This is why, like, Navy SEALs and astronauts and shit wear it. It's made out of, like, surgical stainless steel, one of the hardest glass sapphire crystals. You're not going to hurt it. The watch will hurt the car. You're not going to hurt the watch. I can dunk it into gasoline, oil, smack it against the concrete. You're not going to hurt the watch. Now, I do sometimes wear a belt buckle. I'm wearing one today. Ooh, my Elvis buckle. Wasn't wearing one usually. And people say to me, oh, you should have fender skirts. I've been working on this car for years. I have not ever scratched the car because I just am aware of my situation. Now, if I were a mechanic and if I had mechanics working on these cars, I would have them wear what's called a mechanic's buckle, which is a leather covered buckle, or no metal on them. So I get it. But it's my car and I'm very careful, and I've never scratched the fender. I've never scratched this car. Look at it, it's flawless, right? Because I'm just aware of my situation. I know it's self-deprecating, but I wasn't making a joke. My belly and my girthiness here. See the distance? I know it's funny, but I don't scratch the car. I don't know what to tell you. So that seems to be a huge pet peeve with people. When I changed the oil before, I just bought regular oil and I put it in. So to satisfy those people, I went to the Rolls-Royce dealer and bought Rolls-Royce genuine motor oil. It's a 030. I normally use a little thicker oil, synthetic in there, because basically I feel like in the hot temperatures, you're running at the lowest weight because I'm here in Las Vegas. But somebody made a good argument. They said the lower weight is not only for lubrication, but because of the smaller gaps and holes that the oil has to go through. So they need that thin weight for proper lubrication. But I got to tell you, I've never seen a single Rolls-Royce car or even one of these BMWs with a catastrophic engine failure. It's usually something else that kills the car. Like my 1967 Rolls, you know, the old Rolls-Royce engine, the ones they made in Crewe, I think from like 1960 to like 2002, they used the same engine in that car. Very, very reliable engine. And they use just regular GM transmissions. Now, of course, this car is part of the BMW group, so it has the engine out of the 760 Li, which is the V12, and transmission. And so that's a German-made car. So you're going to have those BMW problems, which are generally oil leak related problems. Anybody who's ever owned that series of you know, or any BMW will tell you that they just have oil leak problems. And in the other Phantom that I used to have, if you go back and watch some of my videos, we had done a repair where we had to replace the oil cooler lines that run between, I explained this before, there are two liquid cooled alternators. So there's this big metal cavity that has both the oil running through it and the coolant running through it. It's the weirdest, I can't even explain it, but there's an oil cooler line that runs behind the mount. And then if I were to pop the hood, there's these small, about the size of your finger, small coolant lines that run to it. So you have two encapsulated 180 amp alternators that are in this cavity together. And that cavity is cooled with the engine coolant. So as it comes out of the radiator, it goes through those alternators first and then through the engine or something. But these cars actually run very, very cool. I've never seen the needle move on this thing ever. I mean, I've been in the hottest of hots here in July with the air conditioner on, sitting in traffic on pavement when it's literally 120 degrees, and I've never seen the needle move on this thing. It's got one of the greatest cooling systems. However, when it fails catastrophically. There is a pipe that runs off the back of the water pump, goes straight through the center of the engine, under the intake to the back of the engine. Worst design ever. That pipe has like vulcanized rubber around it as a seal. When that seal pops, all your coolant exits the engine immediately. And that happened to me. Now, sometimes that used to be an engine out job. There's this dude, I forget his name, but he makes a pipe that's threaded. So you pull the intake, it goes in there, and you can thread it in rather than having to take the whole engine out. Anyway, that's a whole video for another story. So, you know, there's people out there that a lot of the comments, the most common comment about the Rolls-Royce Phantom is it's just a BMW and it's a money pit. It's just a BMW and it's a money pit. It's just a BMW, it's a money. I see that comment over and over. There's the pit where the money goes. You know, things are going to be a premium. If you own a boat, if you own a plane, if you own an RV, if you have a very beautiful woman, these things just cost extra money, right? You have to pay a premium, right? Bologna sandwich versus steak dinner at Gordon Ramsay. They're just not comparable. There's people out there that they don't want excess. They want to drive a 92 Gold Corolla. They're minimalists. And I can't imagine a worse fate in this world than being a minimalist. Imagine you only get to live once and you want the minimum. You want to live your life with the minimum. You only get to live on the planet, what, 50, 60, 70 years if you're lucky, right? And you want the minimum? You want the bare minimum. I just want the bare minimum. I just want to make it till I'm dead. But then there's people like me who go to work and work on their car with a Rolex and Gucci shoes on their Phantom. It's not for everybody. Hey, if you're not willing to make those sacrifices, if you're not willing to pay that extra money, if you're not willing to get your knuckles dirty and like, listen, I'm not a guy that can afford a $500,000 car. I never said I was rich. I'm a guy that bought this car at a salvage auction, fixed it up myself, and I get to daily drive a Phantom. And actually now I'm daily driving my Maserati because, you know, I felt like I didn't want to wear this out. It's not that I'm worried about wearing it out with the miles, but I've started to have a fear that every time I take this out, I'm increasing the risk of getting rear-ended or T-boned from some moron here in Vegas. And I'm like, I need to drive it less. Because every time you take it out, if you're running errands in it, if you're going to the post office, if you're going to Kroger's in a Rolls Royce, it's going to get dinged. It's going to get hit by a cart. Somebody's going to run into it. So I want to start minimizing the chances for that happening because this car's not really easily replaceable and not easily repairable. I'll give you an example. Over here hanging on the wall is a door. That's a Rolls-Royce door. Now, see that dent in it? Can you see it, that crease? Let me tell you a little story. For those of you who've been watching me for a long time, maybe you remember about 4 or 5 years ago, my first Phantom, the white and black one that we unwrapped, and then it was silver and black. When I first got the car, I didn't have it a week. I'm sitting in a driveway waiting to turn, and this other car's coming at me, and he's a drunk driver and a Mustang. Oh, I hate Mustangs. And he turns and sideswipes. He turns too wide, and he sideswipes this door. Whoop! Hits both of them, but mostly that one. Okay? I pull this little mother effer out of the car by the neck. I was ready to kill him. My wife saved his life. And he was drunk. I'm sorry, man. I see you. I'm still pissed off. I should have wrung his neck. Cops came out. And for whatever reason, I don't think they gave him a DUI. I don't get it. But anyway, I got his insurance, which was Allstate. If you remember the video, go back and find it. Now, I took the car to the Rolls-Royce of Dallas, where I was at the time. Their estimate for the repair of that door and the rear door, they said, first we got to unwrap your car. We're going to replace both doors, change over all the parts, and then we're going to repaint the entire car because it won't blend otherwise. Now, for those of you who've seen videos of this car, have noticed that this wing here is slightly lighter because you can't repaint a Rolls-Royce. Or you can't repaint a part. You have to do the whole car because the light will not lay right on it. Now that I've showed it to you, you're going to see it every time. Certain angles, if you look at it from the other side, it's not as bad. But from this angle, it's the worst. Because when they paint these cars, the metallic they use in the car, it's a $30,000 paint job. And that's very important, that piece of knowledge. So when I go to get the estimate, Rolls-Royce of Dallas comes back with a $48,000 estimate to replace both doors, repaint the car, and then rewrap it exactly as it was, because that's the way it was, right? I took that to Allstate, and they said, we're going to total your car. I said, no, you're not. And I said, the car's worth more than that. And I said, offer me $100,000 for the car and I won't take it. They said, what does that prove? It goes, it proves that it's not totaled. I'm not going to let you total the car. I fought with a guy on the phone, and you can watch the video. He paid me out the $48,000. Now, when they pay you out, that's your loss. You have no obligation to get the car fixed. You're paying for the depreciation and the loss that you're given based on the estimate of what it would cost. So there was a lot of people that said, oh, what you did was fraud or whatever. They don't understand how insurance works. You're paid your damages. So I was paid the $48,000. I bought this isn't the same car. It's a different car. The other car, I bought another door like that one off of eBay for $3,000. And then we put it on the car. And then we massaged out the tiny little crease on the other one and filled it in. And then I had the car repainted for $12,000. So for $15,000, I repaired the car. We did repaint the whole car. And the way we did it was great because the top portion of the hood here and the roof was all done in diamond black and silver. And if it wasn't for that I was in Vegas with the heat, I would do that again because I love the way that looked. Anyway, and that's what we did. I kept that door as a souvenir. That's the door that was off the original car. So anyway, the point to that story is that if something stupid like that happened again, you know, this grill to replace it is $20,000. These headlights are $8,000. This wing is $13,000. The doors are $11,000 a piece for just the skins. Okay, you catch my drift here? So even though you can buy one of these cars for under $100,000, to piece it together would cost you a lot more. So if I have a small fender bender and somebody whacks this wing, and I got to replace all this out of my pocket or whatever reason, you're looking at 30, 40 grand, 50 grand. And it's a big deal. So it doesn't matter that this car has depreciated to 20% of its original value. It still costs the same to fix as a new one. And that's the reality of these luxury cars. So when you're talking about a Rolls-Royce, a Bentley, these particular kind of cars, you can go pick up a Bentley Continental GT for like 35, 40 grand, right? But the repair bill for it is going to be the same as for a new one. So if you have a $300,000 car and then you got a $10,000 repair, whatever. But if you have a $30,000 car with a $10,000 bill, you're like, hey, wait, wait. My argument to this whole thing, when people say, oh, it's a money pit, whatever, I'm getting the same experience as the guy that paid $500,000 for this car, except I'm getting it for 20%. And if I have to pay 5 or 10 grand here or there to keep the car going by doing shocks and these kind of things, it's a small price to pay. So the people out there that go, it's a money pit, I go, it's not a money pit at all. I'm only having to really pay the maintenance on the car, and I'm paying the equivalent of what the guy might have paid in interest on his loan payments alone to buy the car. And I paid cash for the car. So I bought this car cash from a salvage auction for $58,000, for those of you who remember when I did it. And I'll probably put another 20 grand in. I got less than 100 grand in the car. I'm driving around in a Phantom. So people that also say, oh, it's a BMW, it's just a this, it's a that. The experience of driving this car, as I've mentioned many times, is unparalleled. There's nothing that beats the Phantom. I would rather have a 15-year-old Phantom than a brand new Ghost, because the Ghost just doesn't have the gravitas. When you drive around in this thing, when you pull up to a valet or a restaurant, you get treated different. You get looked at different, right? You just are. Because who drives these cars? Really important dignitaries, heads of state, wealthy people, billionaires, CEOs, and rappers. But so since I'm clearly not the rapper, people just figure that either I'm the chauffeur or I'm real important. And I didn't buy the car for the status of the car. I don't really need the status. I'm already a pretty confident guy. What I did buy it for, though, is that, well, I mean, do I really need to tell you how great a Rolls-Royce is? It's called the greatest car in the world, and everything that's really good is compared to it. They go, this is the Rolls-Royce of pans. This is the Rolls-Royce of shoes. This is the Rolls-Royce. It's the gold standard. It's the top bar of what the best of the best of the best is. This is the Rolls-Royce of beer. This is the Rolls-Royce of everything. Why? Because it's the fucking Rolls-Royce. You know, when people talk about the parts bin cars, like the metal in here, this is the polished aluminum, the leather. There's 17 cowhides worth of leather in this thing. The carpets are made out of lamb's wool. You know, when you go, oh, it's a BMW. Maybe the turn signal's from a BMW, but like, look at the back of this thing. the wood in this thing, the feel of this knob. It's stainless steel wrapped in leather. You know, like, okay, it's true that BMW has the same iDrive, but this wheel is made out of heavy metal wrapped in leather. It feels like it weighs 10 pounds when you move it. Just all those kind of things, you know? I mean, they share the same computer system, I guess, you know, so they make the same bings and bong noises. But other than that, they are not the same at all. Okay, stop it. I mean, just the experience that you have riding on and when people go for a ride in this car, they're like, oh my God, Bob, this thing is like riding on a magic carpet. So, look at this. Just, you know, and it's a beast. This car is 6 inches longer than my Ford Excursion 4x4. It weighs 6,000 pounds. Has like a 500 horsepower V12 motor, and you can't even hear it running when it's going. You can just hear the fan. Listen, I don't need to brag about the car and tell you how great it is. You know that it's a Rolls-Royce and Rolls-Royce. And I don't need to justify the things that I like to buy. I mean, look, I drive around in a DeLorean time machine, drive around in Knight Rider, things like that. Like, I do goofy shit. But the bottom line is that, to me, it's worth it. So if I gotta, like, you know, every 5-10 years, you gotta replace some suspension parts and do some fuel stuff on it. You know, this other person commented, oh my God, you had to do your injectors and fuel pumps at 75,000 miles or whatever. Like, I didn't have to do that on my Camry. Yeah, but you drive a Camry. It's not the same experience. You have cloth seats and a bouncy little car, and you can hear the wind and everything. This has double glazed glass. It's virtually soundproof in there. It rides on you know, the amount of suspension components it takes to have a 6,000 pound car ride on marshmallows. You got to replace that stuff. That's why that's why you have all this rubber components to put that together. It's a completely different experience. It's just like the kind of people who ride coach versus first class. I fly to UK and England and Scotland. I'm not doing it in coach. I'm just not. I'm not sitting on that little hard bus seat for 16 hours. I'll pay the extra money and sit in the first class extra cushion seat where they bring me a nice dinner and a warm cloth and a cocktail, and your ass is sitting in the back, huddled up like this, and you're lucky if you get pretzels. It's a completely different experience, and this is the first class ride. That it's like, you know, there's nothing, you can't argue. When you go to a concert, you can sit in the nosebleeds where you're so far away, you might as well stay at home, or you can get the front row ticket where the dude's literally spitting on you while he's singing. It's a completely different experience, right? And if you can't tell the difference between those two things, I can't help you. So the people who go in the comments and go, it's a money pit and it's just a BMW, you clearly have no idea what it is to enjoy life. You've never had a really nice dinner. You've never really been with a beautiful woman. You've never been in a nice car. You've never had the front row VIP experience. You're missing out on life, and you're going to go to your grave doing the minimum. You missed out on all the cool shit. And I don't know what to tell you. I'm really sorry about that. Sucks to be you. The really funny thing is this truck and trailer costs more than that car as a pickup truck. So, you know, it's a Ram truck. And that thing cost, well, not new, obviously. But like, you know, if you wanted to go buy one of those today versus the Phantom, you'd probably spend more on this truck and trailer rig than you would on a used Phantom. Now, if you start looking at Phantoms and you decide you wanted to get one, stay away from the 2003 or 4 if you can. Try to get at least a 2006. That's what I have. The reason is that's about the time they added a lot of the technological stuff that you're going to want, like Bluetooth, you know, the front and rear video cameras, satellite radio, those kind of things, the basic stuff we're used to now. 2003, 4, and 5 usually don't have any of that stuff. It wasn't really available yet. They might also have what's called the PAX run flat system, and you would have to change your entire wheels out. So those are some things to consider when you're looking at buying a Phantom. You can pick up a 2006 for about 100 to 120. I'd say between 80 and 120 depending on condition, who's selling it, and cash and all those kind of factors, the colors. I'm really lucky because I got a silver with a black interior. That's a great color combination that everybody likes. You're going to find a lot of these with like a peanut butter, camel kind of interior. And then, God help you if you find a custom model, because a custom one, like these, you know, probably some old Asian dude let his wife go pick out the colors and it's going to be green and blue or maroon, and you just go, ah! You look at the interior and the thing, and you just go, ah! I can't stand that peanut butter interior they put in those cars. Blah. And there's so many of them like that. They're just terrible. You know, you'll find them in these like the one Hoovie bought, which was that purple color. It's just like, you missed the mark. You're gonna find these in black and silver. Those are probably the most popular combinations. And repainting them and refixing it, that's something you don't want to do. Yeah, that's a Scooby-Doo machine. Listen, I'm surrounded by cool shit. It's everywhere. But anyway, these are some things to consider if you're deciding that you want to get a Phantom. And like I said, you want to have 10, 20 grand set aside for upgrades, repairs, things like that. Let's talk about that right now because I'm going into my storage shed because we got to replace those tires. Now, here's the deal. I had a set of extra tires that I was going to use, but they're over here in the trash pile because this is actually a good tire. There's actually nothing wrong with this tire. However, the rest of them have problems, like that one. See this one that come off the car, and they don't make these Goodyear NCTs anymore. It really sucks. These are the run flats, and you just can't get them anymore. You can only get the Continentals, and they're also staggered. This is also another problem. You got smaller ones in the front and bigger ones in the back. But yeah, I was examining these tires, and I was like, well, there's a little bit of wear on them. There's still plenty of meat on them. However, over here in my storage shed, I have an entirely other set of wheels. So I have these black wheels, which have the Conti seals. These tires are filled with a foam layer and also a self-sealing layer, the Conti Sports. So these are self-sealing tires. So basically, I was ordering another set of these from Discount Tire. They were going to have to order them. It's going to take a week to get them. They were going to cost $2 grand. They're 500 a piece, basically. But I got to look at these, and these have plenty of meat on them. I'm going to check the date codes on them. I was thinking about just either taking these tires off and putting them back on the silver wheels, or just put the black ones on the car, the black and silver. And the reason I have an extra set of wheels is that I had bought this set, I think, from somebody, and put them on the other car to replace. My other car came with some 26s. I didn't like those ghetto wheels. I took them off and put these on there. Then I took these back off and put the ghetto ones back on when I sold the car because I wanted to keep these as a spare set. And this is why. What do you think? Should I put the black wheels on the silver car, or should I leave the silver wheels on the silver car? What do you think? I know you'd have to see it, but the bottom line is I think I'll just use these tires. I can get another year or two out of these instead of spending $2 grand on a whole other set. Okay, date code on these is 0419. So what is that? 4th week of 19. So they're 5 years old. And really, there's no cracks. They're perfectly, there's a lot of meat on them. You know, you find the little rub strip here. And, I mean, I get a good year out of them probably, I think. So what do you think I should do, guys? Do you think I should just put these on the car and just save myself some bread? Or should I just spend the $2 grand and go ahead and buy some new tires and just save these for later? I don't know. What do you think? I'm thinking save $2 grand, put these on the car, roll around with the black wheels for a while, and then maybe next year or whenever I put the new tires on. I got to go running some errands, taking this Maserati to do it. And this is why I bought the car, because I got to go to the post office. I don't want to take the Phantom to the post office. I just called Discount Tire, and I had ordered a set of those Continentals. And they were having to ship them in from all around the country. And I said, you know what, dudes, just cancel it. I'm going to put these old wheels back on. And this is the issue, right? When that Phantom came out, it has 21-inch wheels. Now they have 22s. So the Ghost came with 20s. The Phantom had 21s. Now they're putting 22s on the car. Now, I don't want the big wagon wheels on the car. And the thing about it is the customer service at Rolls-Royce is shit. Unless, of course, you have a brand new one still under warranty, because, you know, they're getting paid top dollar. If I take a old Rolls-Royce in there, you know, I took my Phantom up to Tobin, which is why I bought this Maserati, by the way, Tobin. They run Rolls-Royce, Ferrari, all that kind of stuff, right? So I went up there, and they wouldn't even work on the car. I said, look, I need some stuff done to this Rolls-Royce. They go, yeah, we don't work on it. It's too old. We don't work on them. Like, really? It's got the same motor in it and everything. Like, eh. The reason they don't is because they know that some schlub that comes in there, some schmo like me comes in there with a 20-year-old Rolls-Royce Phantom, and they slap that $10,000 bill down on the counter. I'm going to be like, oh, no. And they know they just wasted their time doing an estimate because I'm not going to pay it. They know better. So unless you come in there with your cashmere suit and with a brand new $700,000 car, they're just not interested. So this is what I'm going to have to do, I think, guys. I'm going to start shopping for a set of 22s that were pulled off of Phantom. There's always some gold tooth wrapper that pulls the wonderful, nice, well-engineered, and well-balanced offset wheels off their Phantom and puts some ridiculous Asante whatever wheels on the car that look absolutely ridiculous, by the way. I mean, you lose all credibility. When you see a Rolls-Royce rolling in and they've wrapped it and put dumb wheels on it, you just go, you've lost all credibility. Hate me if you want. I'm just saying, as soon as I see that, I'm just like, blah. I'm like, all right, this dude leased a car, and now he's, you know, there's a car about to be repoed. Anyway, so I'm going to go shopping for a set of 22 pull-offs, and because you can't just, they've stopped manufacturing the Goodyear NCT run flats that I used to put on the car. Can't get those anymore. And you can only get these Continentals, which I don't like. I don't particularly like those tires. So this is what you have to do with these cars, guys. I'll give you an example. A car I used to drive a lot that I loved. I love that car. It was the Dodge Magnum. Remember that when that thing came out, it was the shit. But now it's like a ghetto car, right? So when I had it, it had 18s factory, and you just couldn't get tires for it. For whatever reason, you couldn't find any 18s. So I went and got some really nice black satin Challenger wheels that were 20s. And then you could get any tire you wanted. And I would run like Pirellis on there or Michelin Pilots, which are great. And those were great. So probably the best solution is to put 22s on the car. So I'm going to just shop for some new wheels. And a lot of times you can find the rims with the brand new tires on them. And for the cost of those tires, you get the wheels with it. So stay tuned. I got to go to the post office. Well, decided to try to do it ourselves. So we got the wheel off here. And here's the other set of tires. We're trying to get this Cadillac started today, but the fuel pump's bad, so that's not going to happen. That's the thing about living in the desert is everything just dries up. So these are the black wheels. Yeah. So this thing needs a new fuel pump and a battery because it just turned to dust because desert. This thing, I'm trying to get this. What's the part? You're trying to get that section off right there?
Yeah, the ball joint out of there, and you don't have the right tools.
I hear that a lot. Sounds like my wedding night. So yeah, ball joint. I don't have a ball joint. I've never had to remove a ball joint. Oof. Yeah. So I'm trying to cheat it by Trying to see where it go. Oh, I see what you're trying to do. Well, you were just trying to whack it from this side.
Yeah, but the suspension's compressing.
And then you
too
were
far.
trying to lift it with the jack. I didn't see what was going on until I got down here.
Yep, so I'm trying to push it out of there, but I gotta put enough pressure on it so if you give it just a nice whack. But I don't want to, but the suspension is compressing.
Well, it
all the
doesn't
way.
matter if we trash this boot.
Yeah,
So I say,
I know, but I'm trying to get it so the suspension doesn't decompress and like,
yeah.
hurt. So,
Get a Harbor Freight jack under there. What could go wrong?
nothing.
Nothing. It's fine. It's fine. It'll be fine. I am tempted to, you know what? Just for fun, hand me one of those little cylindrical right behind you. Yeah, just for shits and giggles. This is not even tall enough. Oh yeah, there it goes. Just gonna put this just like that. Just there. It's better than nothing. What do you think? Okay. Just cause I'm under here. All right, well anyway, that's the jacking point. And this is the frame rail runs under here. I've seen how they build these cars, so I know exactly what's under here. And there's an I-beam that runs through here. So this is safe. It just would F up the plastic here. But I'd rather that happen than my skull be crushed. So, gonna be able to get this. What is dripping? Did something drip on me or am I crazy?
Are you crazy?
I thought I felt maybe it was just dust. Okay. So he's trying to compress the suspension. I don't think that's gonna work. I gotta be honest. Why don't we just take a pry bar and try to pry this bitch up? You're not gonna hurt this carrier spindle. Although I see, look, somebody did chew the shit out of that right there.
What?
Right there, that's gonna be an EJ. EJ did that. Back when we changed this, somebody went gnarly into there. I am slightly concerned because you're higher than my jack.
Jesus.
We made a field trip over to Mike's shop and picked up his snap-on tools and snapped that thing right off. Just needed proper air hammer with a claw on it. Let's that's not a Milwaukee.
Huh?
So that's not a Milwaukee.
Paid way too much money for that damn.
I'm gonna get an Icon version of it. It's probably made by Snap-on. And there we go. Everybody told me that I should have just got the bushing and then pressed it in, but I don't have a press. And
You got the nut?
Huh?
Isn't the nut should have came with this?
Oh, let me look in the box. Hold on. No, there's no nut in this box. There's some Kung Pao chicken or something in here. That's the black wheel on. Didn't have a chance to record that happening. Hands were full. Maybe move to the other side. And getting this arm. Did it separate? Not yet?
Not yet. I'm still working on it.
Still working on it. So I noticed that these center caps are different. They have different mounts, the way they work. I thought that was interesting. They go on a certain way. This has a different kind of mount than this. The floating caps, as they're known. So, just different. So not all the same. I thought they were. Doesn't look bad with the black wheels. I like the black wheels. Found that spark plug I never could retrieve. If you find any 10mm sockets,
Oh, is there a couple of those down here too?
I don't know. I'm just guessing. Probably every car that's ever been worked on has at least one 10mm socket floating around in the belly pan somewhere. So I buy extra. I do. I get the Milwaukees. I keep extras in here. because you never know. Like, you just, you know, in case of emergency, break glass. Trivia about this car. These are not the headlights. These are the headlights. They put these in because back when these projector style headlights came out in the early 2000s, people weren't used to seeing those. So they put these here as running lights and turn signals, just because people expected to see these here. But they're just, and really they would have a pretty dim light in them. I put a brighter white LED in there so it looks even more like a headlight. And then I also added this chrome trim. But this is not factory. Yeah, as a matter of fact, it's a little loose. I had to glue it. Look at that. But yeah, and I had to replace this trim ring on my other one. This is supposed to be a pop-up headlight washer. So anyway. I didn't get a chance to record all this because I was busy with my hands. But so those have been done. The black wheels are now mounted. I like the black wheels. Monday morning, I got an appointment with the Vuk stock BMW only down the street, which you've seen in other videos. They're going to do a four-wheel alignment. They're going to do a pan drop on the transmission, which is leaking, which has a lifetime fluid. You don't really have a way to, here's this. This is what I was going to do, but Car Wizard was telling me how to do it, and I decided I didn't want to do it. This thing is a throwaway replaceable bottom pan, and I'm going to have them put that in, kind of clean the transmission for me, and then we're going to button it all back together. I've got some other oil leaks that are going on in the car because it's a Rolls-Royce, and a Rolls-Royce that doesn't leak has no fluid in it. So I don't know, the black, what do you think? Tell me in the comments what you think about the black wheels, if you like them. And, because if not, we'll change them. We can just take those tires and put them on the other wheels. What do you think?
What do I think?
You like the black wheels?
I think the black wheels look good, actually.
Well, I was looking at some Cullinan 22s. They're polished chrome. I don't really like polished chrome, honestly.
I don't like chrome either.
I like the wheels that I had on there. I actually had them blasted, powder coated, and I spent a lot of money on those wheels actually.
Well, black look good on it.
I like the black, yeah. I don't hate them. They're just gonna get dirty. Mm-hmm. But at least they won't show brake dust.
That's true. That is true.
That's true. All right. Well, thanks for doing that for me.
Yeah.
So that ought to help improve the tire situation.